For those of us who oppose Donald Trump, the response to Tuesday's vote could be anger or honest reflection. And I'm not by nature an angry person, so I'll try the latter. Donald Trump remade the political map with a huge surge of support from working-class whites, particularly in rural communities. Let me be honest, this is a world that I don't know, and many people probably don't know very well, and that's part of the problem. We have all managed to ignore rural America and the pain of economic hardship and social dislocation it has faced over the last few decades. The big divide in America today is urban versus rural. There's an essay on the satirical website Cracked by David Wong, who grew up in a small town in Illinois, and it gives voice to the rage of rural Americans. The whole goddamn world revolves around America's cities, he wrote. Most new songs, movies, shows, games are all about New York or LA or Chicago or some fantasy version of them. All the hot new industries are in hip cities. If you live in rural America, that effing sucks, he wrote. To those ignored, suffering people, Donald Trump is a brick chucked through the window of the elites. Are you a-holes listening now, writes Wong. We are. Over the last 3 or 4 decades, America has sorted itself into a highly efficient meritocracy where people from all walks of life can move up the ladder of achievement and income, usually ending up in cities. It's a better way than using race or gender or bloodlines as a path to wealth and power, but it does create its own problems. As with any system, there will be people who don't ascend to the top. And because it's a meritocracy, it's easy to believe that this is justified, that they deserve it. A meritocracy can be blind to the fact that some people don't make it because they were unlucky, they were up against tough odds. More profoundly, it can be morally blind. Even those who score poorly on tests or have bad work habits are human beings, deserving of attention and respect. The Republicans' great success in rural communities has been that even though they often advocate economic policies that would not help these people, indeed policies that often hurt them, they demonstrate respect by identifying with them culturally, religiously, emotionally. So the great sin of the modern left is elitism. But there is also another sin that was highlighted in this election: racism. I know this makes many uncomfortable, but hear me out. Donald Trump won among whites without a college degree by a staggering 39 points, according to exit polls. But he won those with a college education by 4 points as well. He won working-class whites, but also middle-class whites. And here is the key point. Trump is not unusual. Right-wing populism is on the rise across a variety of Western countries. It is rising in countries in Northern Europe where economic growth has been robust. It is rising in countries like Germany where manufacturing jobs have stayed very strong. In France, where the state provides many protections for the working class. The one common trait in all these places is that a white majority population faces a recent influx of immigrants. Perhaps the phenomenon might be better described as a reaction to cultural change, but it often expresses itself simply as hostility to people who are different and are usually brown and black. Consider, for example, that 72% of registered Republican voters still doubt that Barack Obama was born in the United States. This is according to an August NBC poll. Donald Trump's political skill was to speak defiantly about both these sensitive issues, elitism and race, in a simple, direct, politically incorrect way that connected with white voters, particularly white men. But in doing so, he also terrified tens of millions of other Americans. We should have a serious conversation about elitism and rural communities. But let's also not shy away from a conversation about race. There are other ignored and suffering people in America as well. We all need to be listening to each other now.